Hello children, welcome to Seth Vidya Mandir English High School CBSE online audio video lessons. Myself Jill Seth, I am your English teacher. So today we shall be seeing the last chapter of our unit, that is Rip Van Winkle. The story is about Rip Van Winkle, a good-natured but lazy man who goes away into the hills and falls asleep. When he awakens 20 years later, Rip, he finds that quite a few things have changed. Many years ago, at the foothills of the Catskill Mountains, was a little village. In the village lived a simple, good fellow named Rip Van Winkle. He was a kind neighbor, ready to help everyone. Everyone in the village liked him. The children of the village shouted with joy whenever they saw him because he played with them. He taught them to fly kites and shoot marbles and told them long stories. So over here, the story begins with a little information about Rip. He is an old man who is extremely kind, humble and generous. All the people living in his village, they happen to like him because of his good nature. Children love this man because he teaches them so many different games and also tells them stories. The only problem with Rip was that he was very lazy. He did no work on his own farm and just idled away his time. Idled as in doing nothing, just sitting in one place. His fences were falling to pieces. His cow was going astray. Weeds grew on his farm. Rip's constant companion with his dog. Rip's constant companion was his dog named Wolf. To avoid work, he would walk away into the forest with his dog. So over here, where we see that Rip, he is a very good person, but there is only one problem with him. He is extremely lazy. Rip, he has a farm, but he doesn't like to work over there. He just wastes his time and all his farm has grown all weeds as in the wrong grasses which we do not grow. And Rip, he has a dog named Wolf with whom he likes to walk away into the forest. One day Rip just walked on and reached the highest part of the mountains. It was late in the afternoon when he reached there. Tired after his long climb, he lay down and began daydreaming. It was soon evening and realized it would be night by the time he reached his village. So one day Rip, he was again walking with his dog, and this time he went way too far into the forest. He had reached the highest part of the mountains. Over there, he was tired, so he decided to just lay down and he began wondering. He began daydreaming. It was evening soon, and Rip happens to realize that by the time he reaches his village, it would be night. Suddenly, he heard a voice calling out, "Rip Van Winkle." He looked around and saw a short old man with thick hair, a grizzled beard, walking towards him with a barrel. What is a barrel? You can see in the picture. He made signs to help him carry the barrel. Rip hurried to help the stranger, who caught his hand tightly. Together they reached a place where there were some more odd-looking men playing ninepins. They were all dressed the same and all of them had beards of various shapes and colors. Now, in the picture, you can see three short men having yellow beard, red beard, and green colored beard. So, over here, when Rip he was lying down, he heard someone calling him. So, he got up and he sees an old man who is short and he was carrying a barrel around with him. So the old man he asked Rip to help him, and so they reached a place where there were many short men just like the one whom Rip helped. Even though they were playing a game, their faces were serious and there was silence. The only sound was the noise of the balls which echoed in the mountains like thunder. So when Rip reached a place where he saw all these weird looking men, there was nothing to hear but the silence. There was only the noise of the ball which was echoing because the air near the mountains is all open. So you might even hear an echo. As Rip and his companion reached them, they stopped playing and stared at Rip with a fixed gaze. Fixed gaze as in they just continuously kept looking at him. Rip was really frightened. His companion emptied the contents of the barrel into glasses and made Rip drink it. Rip obeyed as he was trembling with fear. Since he was thirsty, he drank a few more glasses and slowly fell into a deep sleep. Over here, the men who were playing nine pawns, they happened to be staring at Rip. Then they emptied whatever was in the barrel and offered Rink a glass of drink. Rip, as he was thirsty and he was very scared, he drank a few more glasses and then he slipped and then he went into a very deep sleep. On waking up, he found that he was at the place where he had first met the old man. He rubbed his eyes. It was a bright sunny morning. Rip said, "Surely I have not slept here all night." So when Rip wakes up, he finds himself at the place where he first met that old man, and he says to himself that I could not sleep for the whole entire night. How am I here? He looked around for Wolf, but he was nowhere to be found. Rip whistled. "Wolf, Wolf," he shouted. No dog was to be seen. "Where has this dog gone?" he muttered to himself. He began to descend the mountain to go back to his village. After waking up, Rip questions that whether he has slept the entire night or not. Then he looks for his dog, but he was unable to find his dog anywhere, so he decided to go back to his village. As he neared the village, he met a number of people, but he didn't know any of them. The villagers also stared at him, equally surprised. "Who is this man?" said one. "I've never seen him before. Look at his long white beard and his wrinkled face." On hearing this, Rip stroked his chin and, to his astonishment, he found his beard had grown a foot long and it was all white. An old woman walked up to him and looked at him for a moment. "It is Rip Van Winkle," she exclaimed. "Welcome home again, old neighbor. Where have you been these 20 years? So over here, when Rip wakes up and he doesn't find his dog, he decided to go back to his village. And when he reached his village, he saw that many people, but that people were new to him. Even the people were wondering who this man is. He has grown his beard 12 inches long and has gone grey. His face was all wrinkly. One woman, he stared at him for a moment and then she said, "Oh, it is Rip Van Winkle. Welcome home again, old neighbor." And she asks him, "Where have you been these 20 years long?" So this Rip Van Winkle, that man was so lazy that he slept for 20 years.